Welcome to your Health Facts. Today we're going to be looking at something pretty interesting. We're going to be diving into the relationship between sugar, carbohydrates, and vitamin B1.
Yeah, so, the standard American diet. You know how it is, lots of sugar, lots of refined carbohydrates. Well, it can often lead to something that a lot of people don't know about. It's a deficiency in vitamin B1, which is also known as thiamine. And this isn't, just the obvious sugars, the stuff we sprinkle on things or put in our coffee. It's also the hidden sugars.
Right, and I think a lot of people don't realize how many hidden sugars there are in things like, processed foods and stuff.
Exactly. Those starches, they break down into sugars in your body,
Mhm.
and that just keeps adding to the depletion of this really important vitamin.
Well, and it is important. I mean, vitamin B1 plays such a vital role in our bodies,
Mm.
especially in the nervous system and energy production.
Yeah, it really does. It kind of acts like a catalyst. It converts the fuel from our food into energy, which powers everything we do. But when we're eating, all that sugar and not enough B1, well, we can start experiencing some weird symptoms. A lot of times people don't even notice them or think they're caused by something else.
Like what kinds of things are we talking about here?
Well, I mean, it can be anything. I've seen people with nervous tension, brain fog, even numbness in their hands and feet.
Really? Wow, that's scary.
It can be. It can even lead to tremors, confusion, heart palpitations. I've even seen personality changes, people getting irritable easily or having a low tolerance for stress. And then there's things like poor coordination, headaches that just won't go away, insomnia, even constipation.
And I'm guessing those are just the tip of the iceberg, huh?
You got it. And
Yeah.
the worst part is, most people wouldn't even think to connect those symptoms to a B1 deficiency.
Right. They just think they're getting old or something.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's why this is so important to talk about. Because if you're not aware of it, you can't do anything about it.
That's true. And I think it's also important to note that, not all forms of B1 are created equal, right? You've got your synthetics and your naturals.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And there's a big difference. The synthetic stuff, thiamine mononitrate, you usually see it listed as, it's not always absorbed as well, especially if you have any gut issues.
I see. So what's the better option?
Well, you want to look for the natural forms, like benfotiamine. It's absorbed much better, and it can actually get into your tissues more effectively.
Interesting. So even if you're taking a B1 supplement, you need to make sure it's the right kind.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, that makes sense.
And another thing to remember is that B1 needs a little help to work its magic. It needs these coenzymes.
Coenzymes, what are those?
Well, they basically help the B1 do its job better, and one of the most important ones is magnesium.
Gotcha. So it's not just about getting enough B1, it's about making sure your body can actually use it properly. Fascinating. I learn something new every day on this show.
Me too.
Well, I think this has been a really interesting conversation, but I'm sure our listeners are wondering, what's the takeaway here? What can they do to make sure they're getting enough B1?
Well, there are a few things. First, just be aware of how much sugar you're consuming. It's everywhere these days. And if you are eating a lot of carbs, make sure you're getting enough B1 to offset the potential depletion. And like we talked about, if you're supplementing, go for the natural forms.
Good advice. And, I think that's a great place to wrap things up for today. But before we go, I want to remind everyone that if you're interested in learning more about this or any other health topics, you can visit our website, yourhealthfacts.com.
Yeah, that's a great resource. Lots of good information there.
All right, well, thanks for listening, everyone. We'll see you next time. And, while we're on the topic of food, I think it's worth mentioning that some foods are naturally higher in B1 than others, right?
Absolutely. Things like pork, beef, wheat germs, good one. And then there's organ meats. A lot of people don't like those, but they're packed with nutrients.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of organ meats myself,
Mm.
but I do like eggs and fish. And those have B1 too, right?
They do. Oh, and don't forget nutritional yeast. Make sure it's the unfortified kind, though.
Unfortified, got it. So basically, if you're eating a balanced diet, you should be getting enough B1.
Right.
But if you're worried, you can always supplement.
Exactly. And just to reiterate, if you are supplementing, go for those natural forms, like we talked about, the benfotiamine.
Right, because it's absorbed better.
Exactly.
And it can actually get into the tissues.
That's the key. It's one thing to take a supplement, but if your body can't actually use it, what's the point? Right.
Right, exactly. So just to kind of recap here, the high carbohydrate intake that's so common in the standard American diet can really set the stage for this B1 deficiency. And that can lead to all sorts of problems, many of which people don't even realize are connected to B1.
Yeah, it's really important to be aware of this. Just cutting back on carbs and making sure you're getting enough B1, whether through diet or supplements, it can make a huge difference in your overall health.
Absolutely. Well, I think this has been a really informative deep dive. Is there anything else you want to add before we wrap things up?
I think we've covered the main points. Just remember, folks, knowledge is power. The more you know about how your body works, the better equipped you are to take care of it.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And on that note, if you're interested in learning more about this or any other health topics, you can visit our website, yourhealthfacts.com. We've got tons of great information there.
It really is. It's all about making those informed choices and taking control of your health.
Absolutely. And, speaking of taking control, if you're interested in learning more about this or any other health topics, be sure to subscribe to our website, yourhealthfacts.com. We've got tons of great information there to help you on your journey to optimal health.
We do. And, at the end of the day, it's all about empowering yourselves to live healthier, happier lives.
Couldn't agree more. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. And we'll see you next time on Your Health Facts.